100, Vanda would say. 100, exclaimed all the little girls incredulously, and the little ones would stop playing hopscotch and listen. Yeah, 100, all lined up, said Vanda. Then her thin lips drew together in silence. What are they like? All silk, I bet, said Peggy. Yeah, all silk, all colors. Velvet too, yeah, velvet too. 100 dresses, Vanda would repeat stolidly, all lined up in my closet. Then they would let her go, and then before she would go on very far, they couldn't help bursting into shrieks and peals of laughter. 100 dresses, obviously. The only dress Vanda had was the blue one she wore every day. So why did she say she had 100? What a story. How many shoes did you say you had? 60 pairs, all lined up in my closet. Cries of exaggerated politeness greeted this. All I like? Oh no. Every pair is different, all colors, all lined up. Peggy, who had thought up this game, and Maddie, her inseparable friend, were always the last to leave. Finally, Vanda would move up the street, her eyes dull and her mouth closed, hitching her left shoulder every now and then in the funny way she had, finishing the walk to school alone. Peggy was not really cruel. She protected small children from bullies, and she cried for hours if she saw an animal mistreated. If anybody had said to her, "Don't you think that it's a cruel way to treat Vanda?" she would have been very surprised. Cruel. Why did the girl say she had 100 dresses? Anybody could tell that that was a lie. Why did she want to lie? And she wasn't just an ordinary person. Yes, why did she have a name like that? Anyway, they never made her cry. Now here we have a very interesting account of how Vanda used to answer Peggy's question. She never said that, oh, I have only one dress, that too faded blue dress and all. Vanda always had the answer that she had 100 dresses, all lined up in her cupboard, okay. And after that, Vanda will be silent, okay. So every day this thing is continuing, this is repeating. And next day they will come up with the question, how many pairs of shoes you are having? And she would say 60 pairs, all different, all very good colors and all those things, okay. So after she left, they would roar in laughter, okay, saying, "Oh, she has 100 dresses, 60 pairs of shoes, and all." Okay, so she was not crying on this. Manda used to take all these things so lightly. Okay, actually, Peggy was not a bad girl. Actually, Peggy and Maddie were very close friends, inseparable friends. Actually, Peggy was not really cruel. She used to protect small children from getting ragged and bullied by others. And if she used to cry for long hours if she sees any animal mistreated. But if anybody is asking Peggy, isn't it cruel to treat Vanda like this? She would say, what is the need of Vanda to say a lie like this? We all know that she is not having 100 dresses. Then why she is lying? That is the reason why Peggy is continuing with this teasing with Vanda. As for Maddie, this business of asking Vanta every day how many dresses and how many hats and how many this and that she had was bothering her. Maddie was poor herself. She usually wore somebody's hand-me-down clothes. Thank goodness she didn't live up on bogan sides or have a funny name. See, children, actually our Maddie, Peggy's close friend, was not very much pleased with the way Peggy was treating Vanda because Maddie was a poor girl herself and she usually used to wear the old clothes which was given to her by some rich people, okay. But she was so happy that she was not living in the place Bogan's Heights or she had a funny name. Now children, why the place Bogan's Heights is mattering them so much? Because the people who migrated from Poland, okay, who are not quite well off, they lived very far from the town in the place Borgen sites. So they have an idea that the children who came from there are not having a very good socio-economic background, okay. And she was also feeling happy that she's not having a funny name like Vanta. Sometimes when Peggy was asking Vanda those questions in that mocking, polite voice, Maddie felt impressed and studied the marbles in the palm of her hand, rolling them around and saying nothing herself. Not that she felt sorry for Vanda exactly. She would never have paid any attention to Vanda if Peggy hadn't invented the dresses game. But suppose Peggy and all the others started in on her next. She wasn't as poor as Vanta, perhaps, but she was poor. Of course, she would have more sense than to say she had 100 dresses. Still, she would not like for them to begin on her. She wished Peggy would stop teasing Vanda Petronsky. See, even though Maddie was the close friend of Peggy, she couldn't stop Peggy from doing it because Maddie was also so poor, not like Vanta, but she thought if they are not getting to tease Vanta, then she may become the victim of their teasing and she don't wanted that to happen. So she was keeping quiet. Today, even though they had been late to school, Maddie was glad that she had not had to make fun of Vanta. She worked her arithmetic problems absent-mindedly. 8 times 8, let's see. She wished she had the nerve to write Peggy a note because she knew she never would have the courage to speak right out to Peggy to say, "Hey Peg, let's stop asking Vanta how many dresses she has." When she finished her arithmetic, she did start a note to Peggy. Suddenly she paused and shuddered. She pictured herself in the schoolyard, a new target for Peggy and the girls. Peggy might ask her where she got the dress that she had on, and Maddie would have to say that it was one of Peggy's old ones that Maddie's mother had tried to disguise with. Now, actually, Maddie was happy that Vanda was absent because they haven't teased her that day, and Maddie was happy about it. Actually, she was very absent minded that day, and she wanted to write a note, a letter to Peggy asking to stop teasing Vanda. But suddenly she paused because she's imagining herself standing in the schoolyard, teased by Peggy and other girls. Peggy asking her from where she got the dress she was wearing, and actually that was Peggy's old dress. So Maddie was feeling so much haunted by all this imagination. New trimming, so no one in room 13 would recognize it. Okay, actually, Maddie's mother had modified it by attaching different pieces of clothes so that nobody will understand in her class that it was Peggy's old dress. If only Peggy would decide of her own accord to stop have fun with Vanda. Oh well, Maddie ran her hand through her short blonde hair as though to push the uncomfortable thoughts away. What difference did it make? Slowly, Maddie tore into bits the note she had started. She was Peggy's best friend, and Peggy was the best liked girl in the whole room. Peggy could not possibly do anything that was really wrong, she thought. Now, actually, what happened? Maddie is reaching the conclusion that Peggy has to take a decision on her own on stopping teasing Vanda, and nobody can ask her to stop teasing Vanda. And according to Maddie, she was on the safe zone. She was the best friend of the most popular girl in the school, so she don't want to irritate or break the friendship bond that she had with Peggy. And now she is forgetting everything about Vanda. As for Vanda, she was just some girl who lived upon Boggin's Heights and stood alone in the schoolyard. She scarcely ever said anything to anybody. The only time she talked was in the schoolyard about her 100 dresses. Maddie remembered her telling about one of her dresses, pale blue with colored trimmings, and she remembered another that was brilliant jungle green with a red sash. "You would look like a Christmas tree in that," the girls had said in pretended admiration. Thinking about Vanta and her 100 dresses all lined up in the closet, Maddie began to wonder who was going to win the drawing and coloring contest for girls. This contest consisted of designing dresses and for boys of designing motorboats. Probably Peggy would win the girls' medal. Peggy drew better than anyone else in the room. At least that's what everybody thought. She could copy a picture in a magazine or some film star's head so that you could almost tell who it was. Oh, Maddie was sure Peggy would win. Well, tomorrow the teacher was going to announce the winners. Then they would know. Now, what happened? She was trying to suppress her feelings for Vanda. She said Vanda was just a girl who lived upon Borgin sides. She was not even her friend, and she rarely talked. And she also remembered about Vanta telling the design of her dress, and she was admiring the design of the dress. And when she was thinking about the dresses, Maddie is thoughtful about the contest. There was a designing contest. Actually, the girls has to design dresses and the boys designing motorboats. So every time who used to win? Yes, Peggy. So according to them, Peggy was the one who drew very well than others. So tomorrow the teacher was going to announce the winners. The next day it was drizzling. Maddie and Peggy hurried to school under Peggy's umbrella. Naturally, on a day like this, they didn't wait for Vanda Petronsky on the corner of Oliver Street. The street that far, far away under the railroad tracks and up the hill led to Bergen sides. Anyway, they were taking chances on being late today because today was important. So next day it was raining. Okay, there was a very light rain. So they were hurrying to school and they were together, Peggy and Maddie in Peggy's umbrella. So actually they used to wait for Vanta in the Oliver Street corner, and that shows the way to Borgin Heights. As that was a very important day, the result, the winner of the designing contest will be announced. So they are not taking any risk. So they are leaving to the school without waiting for Vanta. Do you think Miss Mason will announce the winners today? Asked Peggy. Oh, I hope so. The minute we get in, said Maddie. Of course, you will win, Peg. Hope so, said Peggy eagerly. The minute they entered the classroom, they stopped short and gasped. There were drawings all over the room, on every ledge and window sill, dazzling colors and brilliant, lavish designs, all drawn on great sheets of wrapping paper. There must have been 100 of them, all lined up. There must be the drawings for the contest. They were. Everybody stopped and whistled or murmured admiringly. As soon as the class had assembled, Miss Madsen announced the winners. Jack Beggles had won for the boy, she said, and his design for an outboard motor was on exhibition in room 12 along with the sketches by all the other boys. As for the girl, she said, although just one or two sketches were submitted by most one girl and room 13 should be proud of her. This one girl actually drew 100 designs, all different and all beautiful. In the opinion of the judges, any one of the drawings is worthy of winning the prize. I'm very happy to say that Vanta Petronsky is the winner of the girls' medal. Okay, children, so that's a very good turning point we have in the chapter. So actually, Miss Mason is their class teacher, and Peggy was very anxious and nervous about the result. Now, Maddie is assuring her that she will definitely win the first prize, and Peggy is also hopeful about it. But the minute they entered the classroom, what happened? They were so surprised by seeing 100 designs. It was all lined up very beautifully, lavish, bright colors. It was having brilliant designs, okay? So they thought that they must be the drawings for the contest. As soon as the class assembled, Miss Mason announced the winners. So Jack Beggles from the boys, he got the prize for an detachable motor. So all the exhibition items of the boys was in room 12, and who secured the prize for girls? Yes, it was Vanta Petronsky. Okay, she had drawn all the 100 designs so beautifully. So the winner was Vanta Petronsky. Now, children, what do you think will be the reaction of Vanta and Peg? Let's see. Unfortunately, Vanda has been absent from school for some days and is not here to receive the applause that is due to her. Let us hope she will be back tomorrow. Now, class, you may file around the room quietly and look at her exquisite drawings. The children burst into applause, and even the boys were glad to have a chance to stamp on the floor, put their fingers in their mouths, and whistle, though they were not interested in dresses. Look, Peg, whispered Maddie. There's that blue one she told us about. Isn't it beautiful? Yes, said Peggy. And here is the green one, boy, and I thought I could draw. Now, what happened? As Vanda was absent, Miss Mason thought that she will come by tomorrow and get the medal. So all were given a chance to have a look at this exquisite, extremely beautiful drawings. Okay, so all of them were very happy. Actually, Peggy and Maddie was the most surprised ones. Okay, so they were able to identify the dresses that Vanda was talking about. Actually, the blue ones and the green ones. Okay, children. So we will be dealing with the second part in the next class. Okay, children. So let me give you a brief sum up of the story, what we learned today. Vanda Petronsky was a poor Polish girl. She lived on Bogens Heights. She joined an American school. She was different from other girls in many ways. Her name was uncommon. She was a quiet girl and had no friends. She wore the same pale blue dress every day. Vanda used to sit in the corner on the last but one seat of the classroom where noisy and rough boys who got low marks sat. There was a lot of dirt, mud, and scuffing of feet in that area. Peggy and Maddie were close friends. Peggy was pretty, had curly hair, and wore beautiful dresses. She was the most liked girl of Vanta's class. She often made fun of Vanta by asking her questions about her 100 dresses in a mocking, polite voice. Maddie wanted Peggy to stop teasing Vanta, but she could never gather courage to tell her that. She used to feel uncomfortable of that. Perhaps it reminded her of her own poverty. Vanda, though a quiet girl, spoke a lot about her 100 dresses. She told the girls that her dresses were made of velvet or silk. All had different colors and designs. She especially mentioned her two dresses, one pale blue with colored trimmings and the other bright green with red sash. Vanda's absence from school was not noticed for 2 days, but on the third day, Peggy and Maddie, who missed the fun of laughing at her, waited for her at the corner of Oliver Street where they used to meet her on their way to school. But Vanda did not turn up and they got late for school. Next day it was drizzling. Peggy and Maddie did not wait for Vanta. They never wanted to be late for the school because they were anxious to know the result of the competition. It was to be announced that day. As they entered their classroom, they stopped and gasped. 100 drawings of bright and beautiful and differently designed dresses were displayed all over the room. Everyone who entered the room murmured with admiration. Miss Mason announced the result. Among the boys, Jack Bogles had won, and among the girls, Vanta Petronsky. She asked the students to give her a special applause, though she was not present to enjoy it. She had submitted 100 dresses, 100 sketches, and every sketch was worth winning the best prize. So children, your portfolio activity for this week is to write a profile on Nelson Mandela. So children, you know how to write a profile, right? You can either write it as paragraphs, no problem, or you can either write it as points like born on, educated from, likewise. Okay, if you type the name of Nelson Mandela and you switch on to Wikipedia, you will get the needed information. Okay, so you have to do it in 2 pages. I want you to paste the picture of Nelson Mandela, and you can either take a photocopy of this picture and even paste this, not a problem. So don't come with the excuse I don't have the picture and all of the Nelson Mandela. So children, do it very thoroughly. Okay, so as you are not submitting on time, I have decided that as I have given you the topic on Thursday, I want you to submit the English portfolio by Sunday evening. You have time till Sunday evening, and Sunday will be your last date for submitting the English portfolio activity on Nelson Mandela. So what is your portfolio activity, children? Prepare a profile on Nelson Mandela. Minimum 2 pages should be there. Okay, not minimum, there should be 2 pages. Okay, no need of beyond 2 pages and all. So write neatly, don't make me to redo it. Okay, so children, any doubts you have regarding writing this portfolio activity, you can clear it in the live session. So children, before coming to the live session, read the chapter The 100 Dresses and come. Okay children, I will be asking you questions. I hope the chapter is thorough for you. So see you in the live session at 2:30 p.m. Okay children, thank you. Have a nice day.
Here is the summary of the short story, The 100 Dresses, Part 1, by Elsor Esther, also known as Eleanor Estes.
On Monday, Wanda Petronsky was not in her class seat, but nobody noticed her absence. She usually sat in the corner of room 13, which housed the rough boys. These boys did not score high marks, were the loudest, and sat in the dirtiest section of the room. Wanda was a quiet girl without any friends. She came from Boggins Street, which was the poorest neighborhood in the town. She sat in the corner of room 13, overlooked by everyone. The only time anyone noticed Wanda was after school hours, when they made fun of Wanda. On Wednesday, Peggy and Maddie noticed that Wanda was not in class. The reason they noticed Wanda's absence was because she made them late to class. Peggy was the most popular girl in school, and Maddie was her closest friend. Usually, they waited for Wanda so they could make fun of her. No one in room 13 had a name like Wanda. Wanda came to school alone and wore a faded blue dress. Though her dress was clean, it was wrinkled and loose. Peggy, outwardly polite, would ask Wanda how many dresses she had in her closet. Wanda would reply she had 100 dresses, all made up of silk and velvet. They would let her go and laugh behind her back. They didn't believe that Wanda, who wore a faded blue dress, had 100 dresses. They would also ask her how many shoes she had. Wanda would reply she had 60 pairs of shoes. The girls again did not believe her, so they would ask Wanda if they were all of the same color. Wanda would reply that they were all of different colors. Peggy was not a cruel girl. She did not believe that Wanda had 100 dresses and therefore felt justified in making fun of Wanda. Maddie, however, did not feel good about teasing Wanda. Sometimes, when Peggy politely mocked Wanda, Maddie would stay silent and quiet. So, she was glad when Wanda did not come to school that day. While Maddie worked on an arithmetic problem, she thought about writing a note to Peggy asking her to stop this game. But Maddie was afraid. She imagined how she would feel if Peggy told everyone that she was wearing Peggy's old dress. So, she tore the note and hoped Peggy would stop making fun of Wanda. 1. Peggy was the most popular girl in the school, while Wanda was a girl from the poorest part of the town who did not have any kind of friends. Thinking of Wanda's dresses, Maddie thought of the drawing and coloring contest in the school. For girls, the contest was about drawing dresses, and for boys, designing motor boats. She knew Peggy would win the contest since Peggy could draw very well. The next day, it was raining, so Peggy and Maddie ran straight to school without waiting for Wanda. Maddie wished Peggy good luck and hoped she would win the contest. When they entered the classroom, they were dazzled by the drawings that had been put up all over the classroom. Miss Mason, their teacher, waited until all the students were gathered in the classroom. Then she announced the winner for the boys' contest. She then informed the class that while most of the girls submitted 1 or 2 drawings, one girl from the class had drawn pictures of 100 dresses. She then happily announced that Wanda Petronsky was the winner of the girls' contest. Though Wanda was not present that day to collect the medal, Miss Mason hoped that she would be in class tomorrow to collect the award. For now, Miss Mason asked her students to take a walk around the class and admire Wanda's beautiful drawings. Maddie, looking around, recognized some of the drawings and whispered excitedly to Peggy. Maddie realized that all the drawings were made by Wanda.